In this video, I am showing you how to upgrade a basic pair of jeans into something with real style. You will learn how to build a color palette for patches, how to attach them properly with glue and stitching, and how to get that worn boro texture using a Dremel. Everything is time-stamped below. First things first, we need to open up these jean legs to work comfortably. I am using my seam ripper for this, and all the materials I am using throughout this video are linked in the description below. You have two options here. You can open the inseam or the outer seam, totally up to what feels better for you. I personally went with the outer seam, but here is some insider knowledge that will save you headaches later. Jeans usually come with one leg that has a double seam, extra reinforced. Depending on your brand, that seam might be sitting on the inside or the outside of the leg. My recommendation is to always open the side with a single seam. It is so much easier to sew back together later and get that clean, factory-looking finish. You will be able to spot that double seam without any trouble. Look for the reinforced-looking stitch that is visible from the outside. It has that same sturdy vibe as the stitching on your hems and your pockets. Once you see it, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. The jeans are opened up. Now we get to the fun part: patches. Over the years, I have accumulated this collection of fabric scraps from various projects. I have them all organized. These ones right here are my printed fabric section, my stash of patterns and colors. When you are choosing fabrics for patches, ideally you want to look for stiffer materials. They behave better, they hold their shape, they are easier to work with. That said, you can absolutely use stretchy fabrics if that is what you have got. They are not off limits. But fair warning, they do require one extra step in the process to get them behaving properly. This right here is my favorite part of any customization project. I am slowly going through my stash, picking out prints and colors, and I am really trying to keep everything within the same color family. That cohesion is what separates good work from the rest. My trick is making sure that at least a few of my patches share a similar color to the actual jeans themselves. It does not have to be exact, just in the same ballpark. That way, when you step back and look at the finished piece, everything feels integrated, like it was always meant to be there. When you are customizing clothing, finding ways to bridge what you are adding with what is already there is crucial. Playing with color palette is one of the most effective ways to nail that. Time to get these patches locked down. I am using fabric glue and a wide brush for application. Someone dropped a comment on my last video mentioning spray fabric glue. That sounds like a game changer. So much faster, so much more even coverage. That is definitely going on my shopping list for next time. But since I have already got this liquid glue in my stash, we are rolling with it today. Here's how I like to work it. Spread a nice, thin, even layer of glue across the entire surface of your patch. Do not go crazy with it. Then, when you press it onto the jeans, use firm, even pressure to really get that adhesion happening. Make sure it is sitting flat. I prefer cutting and adjusting my edges as I go rather than pre-cutting everything. It gives me room to improvise, to change my mind if something is not hitting right. Maybe the scale is off, maybe the placement feels weird. When you are working incrementally, you can pivot without wasting material. Since this specific patch needs to wrap around to the other side of the leg, I am being strategic about my glue application. I am marking my endpoint with a couple of pins first, then applying glue directly to that zone on the jeans. This prevents me from coating the entire patch in adhesive and then having these weird, stiff, uneven glue spots showing through on the back side. That is not a look you want. Here's another tip from someone who learned the hard way. Do not skip the ironing. Press your patch fabric before you apply it. Get those wrinkles out, get it nice and flat. It makes the whole process so much smoother. I always skip it because I am impatient and I always regret it. Because this particular glue takes its sweet time to fully set, I am using pins to hold the edges in place while it dries. Patience is key here. Resist the urge to reposition things or lift corners to check. Let it do its thing. For that really clean finish, I am extending my patch fabric slightly beyond the raw edge of the opened jean leg, just by about 1/2 inch. That way, when we eventually sew that leg seam closed again, all that raw patch edge gets tucked neatly inside. Nothing exposed, nothing fraying, just clean lines. Real quick, I want to check in with you. I do not usually make tutorials that involve machine sewing. Most of my stuff tends to be more about painting, distressing, no-sew techniques. I am curious what your preference is, whether you are into the sewing machine content or you prefer keeping things simple with hand-workable methods. Drop a comment and let me know. It is genuinely helpful for planning my content and making sure I am teaching stuff you actually want to learn. Back to the project. The front side is looking good. From there, I basically repeated this entire process on the back side of the jeans, but I switched up the design layout to keep things visually interesting. You can see here how these particular patches create this bridge between the front and back panels. It is exactly the effect I was going for. Time to sew. This is my Singer Heavy Duty. She handles thick denim like it is nothing. I will drop the link below if you are interested. For thread, I am using top stitching thread. That is noticeably thicker than your standard all-purpose thread. It gives you that bold, visible stitch that just looks quality. Pairing that with a size 100 needle. Machine settings. Straight stitch. Length set to 3. Width also at 3. Needle position center. Tension sitting at 4. Starting out, I will sew a few stitches forward, then hit that reverse button to backstitch and lock everything in place. After that, it is smooth sailing. I am taking it pretty slow through this section. Not because the machine cannot handle speed, but because apparently my brain cannot handle filming and sewing fast simultaneously. I want to clear something up because I know how it looks on camera. Even though it seems like I am pushing or pulling the fabric through the machine, I am really not doing that. The feed dogs, they are doing all the heavy lifting, moving the fabric automatically. Your job is just to gently guide direction, keep things straight. That said, these opened up jeans are pretty awkward and unwieldy to maneuver, so it probably looks like I am wrestling with them a bit. Even though this particular patch is going to end up hidden inside the leg once we close everything up, I am still running a line of stitching right along its edge. This is not for looks. It is pure function, making sure that patch stays exactly where it should through washes and wears. For the bobbin thread, the one on the underside, I am actually just using regular thread, not the expensive top stitching stuff. Top stitching thread costs significantly more, and since the underside stitching is not really visible in the final piece, it just does not make financial sense to use premium thread down there. That right there is how your patch edges should look. Now we are getting into the decorative stuff, the grid pattern. You have got two solid options here depending on your confidence level. You can freestyle it like I am doing, just eyeballing your lines, embracing the slight wobbles, trusting your hand. Or if the idea of sewing without a guide makes you nervous, you can absolutely mark your grid first. If you want to go the marking route, I have linked this fantastic heat erasable pen in the description. One heads up while you are sewing these grids. Watch out for the inner pocket bag. It is easy to get in the zone and accidentally stitch it to the leg. Here's my take on precision for this particular technique. It does not need to be exact. I'm not saying be sloppy, but this is one of those projects where slight imperfections actually add character. The distressed, handmade vibe we are going for actually benefits from lines that are not laser straight. So do not stress if your grid has a little personality to it. This whole grid approach is heavily inspired by the Japanese textile tradition of sashiko boro. It is this centuries-old technique of reinforcing and beautifying worn fabrics with visible running stitches, often in geometric patterns. If you are picking up new skills from this video, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button. Let us check in on progress. Here's how those grid sections are looking. Exactly the kind of textural interest I was hoping for. I am being selective about where I place these grids, hitting some patches and leaving others plain to create that rhythm and contrast across the jeans. But that is purely an aesthetic choice. If you want to grid everything, go for it. Peep the backside real quick. See how the stitching looks from the inside. And these are the specific sections where I added the grid work, distributed organically throughout the piece rather than in a rigid pattern. Here comes the messy part, and I mean that literally. We are breaking out the rotary tool, also known as mini grinder or Dremel. For attachments, I am using this one with interchangeable sanding bands. I am concentrating my distressing efforts specifically on those grid sections we just stitched. The contrast between the intact threads and the worn away fabric, that is where the magic happens. But before we start grinding, slide something rigid underneath your work area. Now let us talk setup because this is important. I am holding the Dremel in my dominant hand, but my other hand is running the vacuum hose right next to where I am working. I am not being dramatic here. This process generates an absolutely ridiculous amount of fine dust. We are talking denim particles floating everywhere, coating every surface. If you have any option to work outside or in a really well-ventilated space, do it. And please, wear a mask for this part. That fine particulate dust is genuinely nasty stuff. One more tool recommendation. This pencil grip extension. Most Dremels come with it in the kit, but if yours did not, it is absolutely worth buying separately. It screws onto the main body and lets you hold the tool like you are writing with a pencil. So much more precise and comfortable for detailed work than gripping the bulky main unit. Technique-wise, sometimes I do not mind sanding right over the threads and letting them break. That creates a different, more destroyed look. But for this project, I am mostly trying to preserve that grid structure I worked so hard to sew. So I am being deliberate about staying inside the squares, sanding the fabric away while leaving those thread lines intact to define the grid. Remember that fabric glue we applied way back at the beginning? This is exactly why we did it. Without that adhesive bonding, the patch layers together, all this sanding would just cause the fabric to unravel, fray, fall apart. The glue keeps everything locked in place even as we distress it, giving you that worn look with structural integrity. Pressure check. You want to be gentle here. Light, consistent pressure, letting the tool do the work. it is way better to make multiple light passes, gradually building up the distressing, than to bear down hard and accidentally blow through the fabric in the wrong spot. Like pretty much everything in this tutorial, patience is not just a virtue. It is the name of the game. Final stretch. Time to close these pant legs back up and turn these pieces back into actual wearable jeans. First step, trim any excess patch fabric that is extending beyond the jean edge. You want it flush, clean, ready to seam. Before we even think about the sewing machine, we are going to pay really close attention to how these leg openings line up. The hems, the finished bottom edges, need to match up perfectly. Or your jeans are going to look wonky and uneven when you are wearing them. Pin them together first. Double check the alignment. Make sure you are happy with it. For this closing seam, I am switching to regular gray thread. Does not need to be the heavy top stitching stuff for this part. First pass is a straight stitch, running the full length of the leg opening, get that structural seam locked in. Then, before we finish, trim any thread tails that are hanging loose. We are finishing that raw edge with a zigzag stitch to prevent fraying in the wash. Settings for this: length at 1.5, width cranked up to 6. You want a nice wide zigzag that wraps over that cut edge, sealing it down. Stitch right along the edge, catching the denim but not going too deep into the seam allowance. That right there is exactly how your finished seam should look. Clean, secure, ready for years of wear. One last practical note for your supply shopping. I burned through almost 2 full small spools of that top stitching thread to complete this entire project. And we made it. Here is the final reveal. Look at that texture, that character we built. I am genuinely obsessed with how these turned out. Thank you so much for hanging out with me all the way to the finish line. I really hope this inspired you to grab some old jeans and give this a shot yourself. The worst thing that happens is you learn something. The best thing is you end up with a completely unique piece that nobody else has. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will see you right back here next week.